For part 2 of your review, we're going to start with solve and graph quadratic inequalities using your preferred method. So for this method, I'm going to be using factoring. So let's start with the inequality. Remember, we're going to solve it like an equation. So I'm going to change that to an equal sign. And whenever we solve any quadratic and we don't want to use the square root method, we want to make sure that it's equal to 0. So to make it equal to 0, we're going to subtract. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to get our A, our B, and our C. Our A is 2, our B is -1. Remember, there's a -1 there if there's no number. And then our C is -6. We're going to start by multiplying A times C. We get -12. And then your B will go on the bottom. So we want to find the factors of 12. I'm going to say 3 and 4. And because this is minus, we know they're going to subtract to give us -1. So 4 minus 3 and 4, if we subtract them, we do get 1. And then because there's a negative with the 1, the bigger number will have the negative, which means this 4 will have the negative, and that 3 will be a positive. We're going to have x plus 3, 4. And remember, because your A is not 1, we need to divide these numbers by 2, which is whatever our A value is. Because 3 divided by 2, or 3 is not divisible by 2, then it becomes the coefficient of x. So we have 2x plus 3, and over here we have x minus. Now that we have our two factors, we're going to set them equal to 0 and solve for x. We have 2x equals -3 divided by 2. Our first solution is -3 over 2. Over here, we're going to add 2, and x is equal to a positive 2. So these are the two numbers, or 2 points, that we're going to graph on our inequality. And notice how there's a line under that inequality, which means it's equal, so we will have closed circles. -3/2 will go here, and the positive 2 will go here. Now we're going to use the test point of 0 to determine if 0 is part of my solution set. So I'm going to go over here on this side. We're going to use the original 2x squared minus x less than 6. And instead of x, we're going to plug in 0. So 2 times 0 squared minus 0 less than 6. This gives us 0. This gives us 0. 0 less than 6. That is true. That means that 0 is part of my solution set. So we want to shade towards the 0, or where 0 is included. So 0 is here because it's part of my solution set. Then we're going to shade everything in between. So my graph looks like this. Now, inequality notation, we want to write this number, -3 over 2. Your x's are between, my other number is 2. So x is greater than or equal to -3 over 2, but less than or equal to the next one. An equation, so we're going to rewrite it as x squared minus 20 equals to x. And we want to make it equal to 0, so we're going to subtract x from both sides. And we get x squared. Because x comes next, I'm going to write down that minus x, and then minus 20 equals to 0. So I'm going to put those ones there. And I'm going to use factored form again, since we already practiced the quadratic formula. So we start with a is equal to 1, b is equal to -1, and c is equal to -20. Again, you can use a quadratic formula if you would like, but we're going to practice factoring, I'm sorry. So we have 1 times -20, we get -20, and then on the bottom we're going to put -1. Again, we're looking for factors of 20. I'm going to say 4 and 5 because they need to subtract to give us 1, and 4 minus 5 to give us 1. And because this is a negative, that means my bigger factor will have a negative. 5 is my bigger factor. So we're going to say x plus 4 and x minus 5. Because my a is 1, then those are my two factors. I'm sorry, that's the equation in factored form. So we're going to make them equal to 0 so we can solve. X plus 4 equals 0, x minus 5 equals 0. Get x is equal to negative 4, x is equal to positive 5. Okay, so we're going to plot those 2 points. We're at negative 4, positive 5. We look at my inequality. There's no equal sign, so that means the 2 points will be solid. I'm sorry, they will be open circles. And again, let's use the test point of 0 to determine if we're going to shade towards it or away from it. So we use the original equation, x squared minus 20 is greater than x. Those x's we will change to 0. So we get 0 squared minus 20 greater than 0. So negative 20 greater than 0, that is false. So we're going to, that means that my 0 is not part of my solution set. So we're going to shade away from 0. That means this one's not part of my solution set, so we're shading away. So now for my inequality, all of our x's are less than negative 4, or all of my x's need to be greater than positive. Okay, for the remaining two, we're going to use Desmos. So if you can open your Desmos.com. Okay, so we're going to go to Desmos.com. And when you get to this portion, you want to look at the graphing calculator. And once you get to the graphing calculator, all you have to do is type the equation. So we get y equals x squared minus 2x, minus 2x minus 3, enter, and then y minus 2, x equals negative 3. Because we're graphing quadratic linear systems, make sure one is a quadratic function like the U shape and the other one is a linear shape. So their solutions are where they intersect. So this is one point, and as soon as you click on one point, it'll give you one of the solutions and then the other solution. So our solutions are at 4, 5, and 0, negative 3. Okay, so your solutions are going to be at 4, 5, and the other point is at 0, negative 3. And then we provided a graph for you to sketch. So if we were to sketch this, it looks something like this. And then my line, oopsie, is intersecting here and then somewhere over here. So this is 0, negative 3, and this would be my, okay, let's go ahead and try the next one. So once both of them are typed for the next one, it should look like this. Notice how it is not intersecting at all. So that means there is no solution. So on the solutions, we would put no solution. And then if we wanted to graph it, it would look like this. And then a line going across that way where there is no intersection. If you have any further questions, please be sure to attend tutoring before your test. Good luck.